The second round of the Kumho Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship is proudly brought to you by Real Dairy Australia and these loyal sponsors. Welcome to the second round of the New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship, third race of the weekend. Joining them this weekend is the National Sports Sedans for their opening race. Gary O'Brien next to me, Daniel Beckinsale in commentary, and Gary, it's a huge field of cars rolling down to this green flag.
Yeah, brilliant lineup here this weekend with the National Sports Sedan guys joining the state guys. A few others thrown in at the back, and we're off to a start. Kerry Bailey's got a brilliant run out of there. Phil Crompton pushing it along on the inside, on the grass, gets that position up a couple there as they go through turn two.
It was an unconventional move there from Phil Crompton, but he got it done and he's made himself in front of Robinson, who's going to try to fight back, but lock up for Crompton as well. So they're all pushing hard because some of these cars in the mid-pack are ones we'd regularly expect to see right up the front in the National Series.
That's true, and I think it's just because they're at Wakefield Park, it's more of a hunting ground for the local guys, the state championship fellas, and that's why you'll see some of those fellas well up and ahead of these guys.
That's it. They will be pushing forward because they've got a point to prove in the New South Wales Championship as well, especially people like Bill Chetton and Steve Lacey in the yellow Camaros sitting third and fourth. Out in front, though, Jack Perkins has re-established himself in the lead from Kerry Bailey, though we hear that there might be some issues for Bailey with a bit of a jump start.
Yeah, I think he may have been speeding on that run down to the first corner, and he may have redressed, and of course we know redressing doesn't work in the other category bar the supercars, so it'll be interesting what they do with that at the end of the race.
Grant Dillman showing the nose there. These are almost two teammate cars. They're both run by Dillman Automotive for the race weekends, but Simon Copping has shut the door as Dillman continues to try to charge his way through the field. Not the qualifying we would have expected from him. He's usually very quick in New South Wales Sports Sedans.
With Steve Lacey's car, we got in full coverage. I've been following Beryl Sitton and Kerry Bailey down into the what we call the fish hook here at Wakefield Park. Tight corner, and one that you really have to get right. It really affects your run out of there into turn 8, turn 9, and then of course the run down the straight.
Yeah, the run onto the back straight, all important here. It's one of the few passing opportunities as we go on board with Robinson as he tries to chase down Alex Williams in front in that immaculate RX-7. We saw it come online late last year, and now he's going to have a dive at Seals. Doesn't quite get him. The Central West driver training car holds on for a couple more corners.
Yeah, lots of dicing going on down the field as we can see. With Michael Robinson in behind him, Colin Smith, the two Monaros, always a good clash between those when they get together. Of course, Smith just up the road a little bit, and Robbo's chasing him down.
A good move there from Robbo into turn 1. Not often you see a great move at sports stands in turn 1. You usually try to wait for 2.
Well, the problem is you either break before the corner or before the kink or after the kink, and if you try and do it after the kink, you end up out of the road and shooting off into the sand trap on the outside of turn 2.
We've seen a few cars get bogged down there before as Bill Chetton. They're starting to close this gap, this group, to Jack Perkins in front. I'm not sure if maybe he's had an issue somewhere around the circuit or he's just settled into a rhythm that maybe is a little bit too slow for this race pace.
Yeah, for the first couple of laps there, Perkins was well out in front, but now we have those guys chasing down. Another move here is a Grant Dillman on one of the Tomasi cars. I suspect that would be Stephen Tomasi in the Chev-powered machine for Victoria.
As he comes down the straight here now, we're on board with Brad Shields as well in the rotary. So he's coming down into turn 1. We're chasing down Tomasi. Dillman has made up a few moves, and there's Crompton, who's trying to take a bit of grass yet again. We saw him do that in the early stages.
He's had a few difficulties with that Mustang out of Queensland, and looks like he's got that Trans Am spec car now running properly. And of course, we've got to remember these Trans Am cars are so much different from the ones that are running at the back of this field. These cars are actually built for the American Trans Am series and also raced in New Zealand.
That's it. Look at Grant Dillman getting right up under the back of that Nissan as he tries to take the position away from Tomasi. Dillman has been on a charge here. It's a pity he didn't start further up because I think he would have given a bit of a challenge to those cars out in front. He looks to the inside, shows the nose. Looks like Crompton's going to get the job done on Copping as well behind. We'll see them as they come through. Shot he has. And now Brad Shields back to the inside. You don't know where to look right now with these guys.
No, fair bit going on. That's Joe Sade's rotary-powered Fiat 124. And boy, since Brad Shields has got into that car, it's leapt up in performance.
He's grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and really pulled it up the order here. Brad Shields getting a victory last round out at Sydney Motorsport Park in the wet, and now look at him across the top. He's got that much more speed, but down the main straight, that's where he loses out, and that's one of those real great things about sports sedans. Who needs parity racing when you can build something and you've all got different strengths that you can go racing with?
Well, that's quite correct. The Shep-powered cars obviously quicker in a straight line, but down into the corners, that's where the smaller, more nimble cars make up the advantage.
What a move there from Dillman as well. He just dived to the inside on Tomasi, took the line away, and Brad Shields was able to keep the momentum up to get through. Now Crompton's after Tomasi as well, so he's being assaulted here in this half a lap.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling there might be a problem with that Tomasi car. He seems to be dropping time, and of course the other car coming up behind him, the Calibra, driven by his dad Daniel, is coming into the picture as well.
Yeah, he's having a good run. Here he goes, tries to the outside of Copping. We've also got here Robinson starting to make his moves through the field. We've got some great battle packs. Crompton now looking at the rear of Shields, who has managed to survive another run down the straight, and just watch him close Grant Dillman across the top. He flies across the top here in this Fiat.
Yeah, great in-car action here with sequential shifts, and we'll just duck back towards the rear of the field. We've got the chassis cars running down through the final corner, having a nice little dice of their own.
This is Division 3 in New South Wales Sports Sedans. It's Mick Mermurdo against David Atkin, and Dave Atkin is a defending champion of sports sedans because you can pick up so many points in the divisional categories. It just shows there's something to come and race for everybody. And look at these two, nose to tail like they're the front runners.
And just lurking in the background, we could see Perkins and Bailey coming at them at a rate of knots as well.
As Brad Shields now tries to close the gap on Grant Dillman, who shuts the door on him. He's got the run on the inside, but he won't have the power down the straight. And now look at this train of cars behind. Crompton trying to close the gap. Somebody's got a meatball flag here, so we'll have to figure out who that is. But here we go. Tomasi to the inside of Copping. Gets there.
Gets the job done. Brilliant effort there from the Victorian, and Copping goes back a spot.
Yeah, Copping losing out a little bit. Usually we see that V8 supercar quite strong on this track because he's able to just set it up a bit stiffer than everybody else and get the run across the top, but not working for him here this weekend, and he's dropped a few positions, so maybe they're chasing a bit of setup in that car, and just behind them, those two Monaros that you talked about earlier.
Oh, and it looks like Bailey's right on the back of Perkins at the moment, and looks to me like Bailey's got a little bit better straight line speed and braking prowess. It's just getting out of the corners he seems to be struggling a bit.
As Daniel Smith returns to the pit lane in the Couriers Please car, so unfortunate for him, the DNF in this first race of the season. Those guys have worked incredibly hard to get that car here. Expect to see a lot more from them. An ex-Time Attack car, and they've built it up into sports sedans, so he's hopefully going to have a good run. As now Robinson on the back of Smith, you'd have to say he's going to look for an opportunity down at turn 2.
Yeah, but it's not the first time we've seen these Monaros battling it out. They're quite close to each other in the pits as well, so let's hope there's no rubbing going on, or it might be a little bit of a conversation after the race.
That's it. Here's Robinson. He's behind now, tucks in behind through turn 2. Doesn't get the drive he would have liked out of turn 2. It looks like that bump on the exit is disturbing this car just a little bit with the power down, and he has to sit in behind him again as they cross the top.
As they do go across the top of this track now, down into turn 5, down the hill now. All that outside of that corner's all been recurbed, and certainly makes for a little bit better exit speed, I would imagine.
All of the guys were rubbing their hands together to give that a go. Of course, changes in the off-season to Wakefield Park to a few of the corners with the curbing and that run down the hill. Some of them are finding a bit more room down there, but with some of these cars, they're so susceptible to changes in the road that you don't want to run over those little strips.
We've got the Tomasi father and son having a ding-dong go there, and just behind them, more action, but the two Monaros just displacing what looked like the Williams Mazda in behind them.
As Brad Shields finally lost out there to Crompton, they've caught Simon Copping the Monaro battle as well, so Colin Smith is right up behind the ex-Castrol racing car, the Perkins engineering car, and now he's starting to get held up by him, which is giving Robinson the opportunity to maybe show the nose as they come across the top. The Bell Real Estate car is struggling to find the setup here at Wakefield Park. He hasn't been able to get as much speed as he'd like. We see him very quick down at places like Phillip Island.
Oh, well, that's his home track, so he's always going to be strong there. Similarly with Cole Smith on his home track up at Queensland Raceway.
I thought he was going to show the nose there into the fishhook. He shoved it to the inside as, Fred Axissa is off the road, so there's some sort of problem with that car. Unfortunately, a race winner race second place in round 1 of the New South Wales Championship. We saw him with a great charge in race 2, holding off the man in the front of this shot, Simon Copping, as the two of them had a battle. As we go back to this Monaro, and Robinson continues to work the rear of Colin Smith. He's going to look to the inside. He's got a lot of drive on the straight, doesn't he?
He seems to have a little bit more punch in a straight line. Now he's going to have a dive down into turn 2. Can he get it done? They're side by side out of the corner. Actually, Smith will get better drive because he's carrying a little bit more speed. And
little touch, Robinson round.
Wow, that was just a minor touch, but it was just enough to upset the car and then turn him around to turn 3.
That's it. Shows how critical the turn in is for these cars. Robinson takes a bit of avoiding action, and now Kerry Bailey is down the inside of Perkins. Perkins left him room there. Looked incredibly slow into the corner though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it's Bailey must have been really late on the brakes going into that corner and gets the lead away. This is unprecedented. We didn't think this was going to happen, but it has. And Kerry Bailey, a multinational sports sedan champion, now has the lead.
What an excellent move from Bailey. Is now Tomasi to the inside of two of them. He's going to try it on Crompton. Takes a whole heap of curb on the inside. The Division 3 guys are doing a great job of just keeping out of the way. But Tomasi, he smelt blood in the water. An opportunity, tried to take it.
Yeah, it looks like we may have lost one of the Tomasi cars too. They were together just a couple of laps ago, and one of them now has disappeared. But certainly the action's still going on thick and fast, as we can see from the in-car camera there that there has been a place change.
Yeah, Brad Shields now chasing out after Simon Copping. He's lost ground to Crompton and Tomasi. You can see just in front, looked like Tomasi having a slide over the top, and here's Colin Smith working his way through it as well. Just saw Fred Axissa is still stranded on the inside of the track, so obviously it's a mechanical drama with that Commodore. As we go back to the front, Jack Perkins all over the back of Bailey.
Yeah, they just put a lap on one of those TA2 cars, the Dodge Challenger. And yeah, Jack is really putting the pressure on Kerry Bailey now, because very unlucky not to have won a championship or a series last year with mechanical ailments at Queensland Raceway. Really cost him a series. Kerry Bailey, who hasn't done a lot of sports sedan racing over the last couple of years due to his business, having some fires down in Tasmania, but now has another look down there. Oh, they've got up traffic. There we can see one of the Tomasi cars in trouble as well to be lapped. Someone else is kicking up dust in the foreground there. We didn't see who that is. There's plenty going on here. Now he has another look as they go down and lap traffic. And this is something sports sedans haven't had in recent times, is lap traffic, and they're getting it by the bucketful here today.
And you'd have to think Jack Perkins would be the better reader of lap traffic, as he's got a bit more experience with it. But look at the battle between these two. Here we go, Jack Perkins to the inside. He's going to do what Bailey did to him just a few laps ago, and he takes back the lead of this race.
And look at the drive out of the corner.
Racing.
Pulled about 4 car lengths in no time. They wrap up Bruce Henley as they go up the hill. Robbo's the next one up the track, and he never gets lapped, but because they're going off the track a couple of laps ago, that's allowed these two guys to get through.
That spinner's let them through on him, so Robinson will not be too happy to be that far down the field. As we go back to this 3rd and 4th place battle, they're on the rear of Tomasi, putting him a lap down, which is unprecedented as well in itself, just this small circuit. So obviously an issue for Tomasi, and now Lacey continues to fight on the back of Birrell Chetton. These two were inseparable in 2016. Actually had contact here as Chetton changes his line into the fishhook. Just great racing from all these guys through this field.
They've been protagonists for quite a few seasons now, these two, in their yellow Camaros. Steve Vigas built cars, I believe, and they're doing such a strong job. They're running 3rd and 4th at the moment in this race, and now they put a lap on the Challenger as they go down the main straight.
That's Peter Robinson in the high-performance fluid power car, as Steve Lacey in the Real Dairy Australia Tomkin Hospitality Suppliers Camaro tries to work on the back of the Billy's Motorsport car. Birrell Chetton will do everything he can to hold him off here. These two are pretty level on championship points at the moment after a DNF or DNS each in round 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park. So it's important for the pair of them in the Kumho Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedans Championship to pick up some points, and they will not be letting anything happen to compromise that situation. But Lacey's going to do everything he can to get by.
Well, all the front runner we'll be seeing is Lacey's eyes. And not the eyes in the helmet, but those ones on the front of the car, and they're quite menacing at the moment.
I know both of these guys as well came here incredibly pumped to give the national runners a real run for their money. Look at Lacey fighting the steering wheel, taking Ripple Strip onto that back kink. He knows how important that drive is, but these two wanted to give the national guys a run for their money, and they've done just that. I think their battle in the mid stages of this race has slowed them up a little bit and pulled them away from Bailey and Perkins.
Yeah, there's no doubt of that, and a very hard place to pass around normally too, because you don't get a lot of opportunity. By the time you figure out where you are in your dials and your gear changes, you've got a corner. So you have to really time your passes perfectly, and we've seen that with Jack Perkins just a couple of laps ago to get the lead back. But probably a daunting place to have to do it. Obviously, turn 10 is the obvious place where you try and get past, but sometimes you haven't got no choice.
That's it. As we're on the last lap here, we're going to have a look at Alex Williams. He's trying to mount a charge on the back of the Landell Signs car as well, which is Shane Woodman bringing that BMW M3 GTR back out. Just behind them, though, is Jack Perkins, who's going to come home and record a comfortable victory in the end. Well done to Jack. He draws first blood in the National Championship.
Yeah, with Kerry Bailey coming across the line in second. I would assume that Kerry would have said, well, he's got past me, he's getting that drive out of the corners, I'll just settle for second, there's more to come, we'll get it all together. And of course they got down Beryl Seton as the first in the state sports sedan race, ahead of Steve Lacey, Simon in third, Brad Shields in fourth, Stephen Shields in fifth. So it's a pretty good result for them. Of course, with the outright situation in the national series, Perkins, Seton, Lacey, Bailey dropped back to fourth. Now we understand that was a 15-second penalty for that start line infringement.
That's it. Kerry Bailey dropping down the order with that start problem. So that's our opening race for the National Sports Sedans Championship, race 4 for the New South Wales Sports Sedans. We hope you've enjoyed it here on Blendline TV. We'll be back with races 2 and 3 from the round here on YouTube, so make sure to join us then. Until then, I'm Daniel Beckinsale. Joining me was Gary O'Brien. Bye for now.